Hey, what's going on? Can you guys subscribe to my YouTube channel? And can you like the video? It'll be greatly appreciated. Thank you. So today we're going to talk about the show See No Evil, Season 3, Episode 4. Okay, this is real life. This has happened. It's not make-believe. So basically on October 26, 2009, in Fargo, North Dakota, around 7:30 a.m., 49-year-old Philip is getting his daughter ready for daycare. So as he's getting his daughter ready for daycare, they're having breakfast, they're having a good time and everything. And Philip and his daughter are very close. The reason why they are very close is because Philip lost his wife about 7 months ago due to complications and heart surgery. So, his daughter doesn't have a mother anymore. And her name is Sarah. The daughter name is Sarah. So anyways, he's getting her ready. They're having breakfast and he's going to be dropping her off to daycare. And Philip is a dentist. And he has a really big practice. And he works a lot. But he has cut down his hours because he wants to play a more role in his daughter's life since the mother's gone. So, and everyone in the community does like Philip. They look up to him. They think he's a great dentist. And he's a wonderful guy, basically. So as he drops his daughter, Sarah, off to daycare, he doesn't pick her up. So the daycare calls the next of contact at any time of emergency. And they call Julie. Julie comes and picks up Sarah from daycare, takes Sarah to her home where she's safe and secure, and then Julie goes over to Philip's house. And so she can't get in, she can't see anything at this time of point, so she hops the fence and she looks inside the garage and she noticed that his Porsche is gone. And she was like, so Philip must not be home. But she doesn't give up then, so then she looks through the windows. She doesn't see much, and then she finds the rear view door is open. She enters the house. She sees that the house is at disarray. It looked like it has been ransacked, and she noticed blood droppings near the living room and the kitchen and everything. And so she goes upstairs towards the bedroom, and she noticed Phil laying on the floor. So as she noticed that he's laying on the floor, she dials 911. 911 comes. The 911 comes. Well, the EMTs arrive, the medics, and the police, and which they declare Philip to be dead on arrival, dead at the scene, basically. And so the detective is looking around. I was like, wow, they really ransacked this house. It's like everything's gone. All the electronics is gone. She also tells him that Phil's Porsche is gone. It disappeared. And they're like, wow, this is no ordinary robbery, because it looks like, the criminal took his time and everything to go through the house, because for him to take all the electronics and everything else and jewelry and things like that he was no ordinary criminal. Actually, he was someone that knew what he was doing, basically. And so at that time and point, they don't know what's going on. They don't know who possibly robbed Philip or anything. So basically, what they do know is the Porsche that Philip owns may be the target because it's worth $20,000. So since the Porsche is worth $20,000, they believe that basically that was the intended target, was to get the Porsche. So Philip has no family in Fargo, North Dakota. Basically, the family spread out all over the place, but the closest relatives are Sarah's grandparents, and they contact Jean and Sharon and Oklahoma, and they inform the grandparents that Philip has been found deceased. He's dead, and they're so compassionate over the phone. They were like, wow, we just lost, our daughter 7 months ago, and now our granddaughter's an orphan. So they intend to drive up to Fargo, North Dakota, which is going to take them like 900 miles, probably take them 24 hours to get there. And so basically that is what's going on so far. So the in-laws talk to police and everything's all good. So The police canvass the neighborhood. They find no witnesses. No one knows anything, basically. And so, but they do notice there's a bowling alley across the street from Philip's condo. And it has cameras. And some of the cameras does face towards Philip's house. So anyways, they try to get footage. And they see something on the footage, but they end up talking to the owner of the bowling alley, and he says he noticed something strange because usually when he's doing cleanup, there's usually no vehicles around 7:29 a.m. in the parking lot, but he noticed a dark colored truck carrying a trailer, U-Haul, which is used to pull a vehicle, basically. He found it strange that it was parked there because usually there's no cars in the parking lot. So anyways, the detectives go back to the footage, and once they go to the footage, they know there's a pickup that's there in the lot, and it has a trailer carried onto it and everything. And so they notice someone walking away towards Philip's house. He's wearing light colored pants, and he has dark shoes on. And so then they also notice that he's going through an alleyway where the AMW restaurant is at 7:47 a.m. And they see a large suspect walking behind the restaurant towards Philip's house with the same thing, dark colored shoes, light colored pants. So now the grandparents arrive to the police station, and they talk to the police, Jean and Sharon. Jean is the grandfather, Sharon is the grandmother. They arrive to the police station, and the police ask them, do you know anybody that would want to harm Philip? Does he have any vices or anything? The grandfather says, yes, Philip does have a problem. He has a problem with gambling. He gambles all the time, and they want to know what's going on with that. And so they interview Philip's gambling buddies, and they all are shocked. They can't understand what's going on. They have no idea. But there is one person missing. His name is Lucas. He has not been gambling, and they went to his house. They find out that Lucas is not there. It looks like it's been abandoned. And then Lucas finds out that they're looking for him, so he calls a police station, and he lets them know that he is a truck driver, and he's been out of the city for a long time because he's carrying a haul. So the police verify that information. They find out that he's actually been out of state the whole time, and there's records to prove it. So basically, Lucas is safe. So that's cool. So anyways, the police began to canvass the neighborhood some more. They actually canvass more of the neighborhood because right now they don't really have any leads except for the truck and the flat bin U-Haul to carry a car. And also the owner of the bowling alley let the police know that the plates of the truck were Oklahoma, and that kind of throws the police for like a thing because they know Philip's wife that's deceased is from Oklahoma. The two grandparents are from Oklahoma, so they're wondering if there's anybody in Oklahoma that has a problem with him. But at this point, they can't find out any information. So as they canvass the neighborhood, they find a witness, and she says, "Yeah, I noticed something different. I noticed something weird. The day that Philip was murdered." She said basically she's seen because her house is. It's on the same side where Philip's house is at. So basically for the truck to get by, it has to go by her house, basically. So anyway, she noticed the dark pickup truck and the flat bin, but it has a Porsche on top of it or whatever. So then she's looking out her window, and she finds it strange for the person to be towing a Porsche in that manner. So she finds a way to get outside, saying that she's taking out, so she rambles to her house, finds some trash to go to the dumpster so she can talk to the guy. And so she talks to the guy, and she's like, "Hey, what's going on?" Blah blah blah. They have a little bit of a conversation, but the guy's always bending his head down. He has a hat on, and he's basically making sure he blocks his face from her. So the lady, really finds it strange and weird. So she's trying to get as much detail as she can. She doesn't get that much, but she does tell the police that, the man was carrying a U-Haul trailer with a Porsche with a black top, and it was a dark colored truck, and the man had on a green jacket, light colored pants, and dark shoes. Basically, that kind of fits the description of what they seen in the bowling alley cameras, basically. So from there, they're like, okay, so now, and she also says it's a white male, and he's in his 40s. And he just seemed very strange. So the police go back to the video. They back it up to 10:52 a.m. and they see a Porsche driving towards Philip's condo, which is actually Philip driving towards his house. And then a couple of minutes later, they see the truck that's carrying the flatbed, lights blink. As you know, when you get out your car, you hit the control and it locks the door or whatever. And they see a figure go around, but it skips, so they can't see if the suspect with the light colored pants on and the dark shoes actually went towards the garage. But then moments later, about 11:31 a.m., they see they see the man reappear, and he has the U-Haul and the Porsche and the truck all together, and he's leaving the scene, basically. But the video footage is very grainy. They can't really see in great detail, but they can see it driving off towards the highway, and they can see that it's a flatbed towing a small kind of like gray and black top Porsche. So basically, the police, they're getting on to something, basically. So then after that, they release the image to the public, and the public gets involved, and they a gentleman calls, and he goes, hey, I seen a man carrying a Porsche on I-29 in North Dakota near the rest stop, because there's a rest stop there. So the man says that he found it weird because the guy kept trying to cover the flatbed U-Haul that's carrying the Porsche with a top, and he just kept trying to cover it. So basically, at this point, at the U-Haul, the car is covered, but the guy walks up to him and talks to him, and he just finds it strange. And then he takes a peek. He looks under the top, and under the top of the top, and he sees the Porsche that's gray, and it has a dark colored top, and the man has on a green jacket, light colored pants, dark colored shoes. So moments later, they see the person that's driving the dark pickup truck and carrying the Porsche walk into the rest stop. But basically, at this rest stop, it's not no ordinary rest stop. It has great footage, great cameras with color, unlike Burger King. So anyways, as the man enters the rest stop, they notice that he's carrying a garbage bag in his hand, and he fits the description: white male, mid-40s, about 6'1", dark colored jacket, light colored pants, dark colored shoes. And as he's entering the rest stop, he looks up at the cameras, turn back around, going to the bathroom. He reappears again, and he is changed. He doesn't have on the same clothes anymore. But as he appears inside of the rest stop, the police zoom in on his pants, and they notice on his light colored pants that there are blood drops on his pants, or something that's similar to blood drops on his pants. And so as that is happening, so then after that, they look all over for other cameras, and then they finally get a camera. They trying to zoom in to see the plates or anything they can see about this truck, because it's leaving. But one thing they do know, as this truck is leaving, it's going south towards the highway towards Oklahoma. So like, they know what direction this driver's going. So basically, he gotta really be from Oklahoma. So basically, after that, the police department at Fargo's send the video out to get cleaned up so they can get some information. So they finally get it, the video cleared up, focused in on, and they get the license plates. And they also find out on the flatbed it says U-Haul. So now they know it is a rental. So now they're rushing to find the information of this guy who's driving this U-Haul and the license plates of the truck and the U-Haul. And they get the information that the guy that's driving this truck and towing this Porsche, his name is Michael, and he's about 6'1". He's a white male. He's a handyman that lives with his handicapped mother, basically. And he has a criminal record of stealing cars, stealing property, rape, kidnapping, and armed robbery and armed burglary. And so they issue for a search warrant for his house. So as they go to his house, they're not taking any chances at all because this guy just killed somebody, you know what I mean? And he's a rapist. Thank God Philip's daughter wasn't at the home at this time because God knows what else could have happened. So after this, so they enter the house and they see the dark color truck is parked out there with the same license plates. They arrest Philip, but they search the house. They don't find any of the stolen property at all. They find nothing there. And so their final and last witness is a guy that calls the police department and says, that guy Michael, he had just rented a storage facility from me about a day ago or whatever. But I must say the search warrant and when they arrested Michael was on October 31st, 2009. It was on Halloween, so trick or treat, motherfucker. I just had to say that. So anyways, that he rented a storage facility a few days ago, and basically they get a search warrant for the storage facility, and they find everything in the storage facility. They find all the computers, they find the cameras, they find watches, they find jewelry, they find anything that's worth anything. But basically they find the most important evidence of all. They find a hammer, and the hammer has blood, hair, and brain tissue on it. And they do a DNA test on it, and they find out that it belongs to Philip. So not only do they have the stolen goods, they have the weapon and everything. So we know Philip was killed very brutally. He was beaten to death with a hammer, But I forgot to mention at the beginning of the video that the cops did figure that the marks and the bruises on Philip was similar to a hammer. So them finding this hammer was just like, woo, great detective work, and it just proves their point and proves them right. So while they try to question Michael at the police station, he refused to say anything because he's an 8-time felon. And anyways, how do he have all this on his record and this motherfucker is still out chilling? Rape, kidnapping, burglary, robbery, armed burglary. How is he just walking the streets? I thought it was 3 strikes you're out. What the fuck is going on? And he ends up killing this guy and leaving their daughter Sarah an orphan, which is horrific and terrible. My God. You don't know who walks among you sometimes. So basically, the police go back to Michael's house and they talk to his mother, trying to find some connection to Philip. So the mother goes, oh yeah, my son does a lot of handiwork for Jean and Sharon, which are the in-laws of Philip. And also they also find out that Michael has done some handyman work for Philip. So now they understand how Michael was able to enter the house, because at the beginning of the video, I forgot to mention as well that there was no sign of breaking an entry. It was like Michael just walked into the house. Basically, Philip had to let him into the house, and he did because he knew him. He was a familiar face from Oklahoma. So that was a puzzle. Now they understand why there was no sign of breaking an entry or any type of marks to try to get in from the windows, the screens, or the doors, because he was known to the victim. The suspect was known to the victim, and he freely let him in. And he didn't know he was letting his killer in, which is just sad, because he just lost his wife. Now he loses his life, and now the daughter's an orphan. So basically, after they put all this together, they bring in the grandparents. The grandfather says that yes, he hired Michael to kill Philip, and he paid him $3,000, and he told Michael he can take anything and everything that was at the house that's worth anything, basically. And Michael was like, hey, it's an opportunity, and he was going to do it. And so the grandfather, Gene, is 63 years old, and he felt like the reason why he did this is because he felt like Sarah being raised by Philip is a no-go, and he felt that his granddaughter's life and future and welfare was worth more than Philip's life, basically. So he didn't give a fuck about his granddaughter, because if he really did, he wouldn't take her father away. She already lost her mother, and they should know that Sarah would have a bond with her father even more. So now taking him away, and now you're behind bars, and she's never going to see you or her grandmother again, Sharon. So you did a disservice to your granddaughter and your daughter that is deceased. How could you ever think that this was okay? How can you ever, what was going on in your mind? Was you senile? Was you crazy? This guy was he was a well-to-do in the community. And it's just like, and your daughter loved him, married him, had a child with him. So how can he be unfit? How can you be so selfish to take away your granddaughter's father because you feel like you can give her a better life? How can you give her a better life? You're 63 years old. You're not going to be around long enough to see her turn 18 or 16 or 17. God, And like you're not gonna be able to do activities with her or take her to school. She will be embarrassed and have to explain why are these old people always showing up to pick her up from school. How did you ever think that this was gonna work? How did you ever think that this was okay? How can you ever do this in the honor and the memory of your daughter to do such a crime like this? Because you felt selfish, because you thought you can give her a better life. You couldn't. He was more successful than both of you put together. And he was younger. And he loved his daughter. So it's just a grave injustice that these grandparents did this to their granddaughter. And then for the person that they hired to even do such a thing when he knew who Philip was. And he was a good person. And he knew that he'll be leaving this small little girl, Sarah, an orphan. So anyways, both of the criminals plead guilty. Gene, the grandfather, he pleads guilty. Michael, the person that's actually committed the murder, pleads guilty. They get life in prison and without parole. And now you have the grandmother. She does not face any charges at all, but she would never see Sarah again because Sarah has been taken to a safe location with family members that are real family that really loves her. Not the selfish, ridiculous people like Gene and Sharon. Awful. Now, if anybody should be stoned, you motherfuckers need to be stoned to death. Please like my YouTube channel and like the video, subscribe. This is such a long story that I forgot some of it. Sorry. Anyways, the TV show is called See No Evil. It's on the ID channel, and I watch these crazy crime shows. I don't know. So peace.